Hey everyone, Brian from Rebel Traders here. It is Sunday, September 29th. We've got one more day left till we finish out this quarter, third quarter, and then we'll be into the last quarter of the year. Been a pretty crazy quarter if you look back on it. Lots of chop up and down, and yeah, and so we had some news come out Friday, of course, about um, U.S. considering Chinese securities and whether they should be listed in the US, maybe talking about the delisting of some stocks, but they're not held to the same accounting standard that the US companies are. So it's just another um, another negative news headline that that impacted the markets on Friday. And but of course they did find some footing and come back up. And so we had a bit of a down day Friday, but certainly off the lows of the day. And like I said, it's been hard to swing this, do some swing trades in this crazy market. The tweets and news events like we had on Friday just keep you on edge the whole time. You just never know what's going to come up next here. So let's take a look at the groups, see what the groups did over the last week. You can see here technologies really took a hit on Friday, and that was partly to do with the U.S.-China trade tariffs, and then this new news about the possible delisting and at least reconsideration of allowing Chinese companies to access U.S. markets for funds. So just more fodder, I guess, if you want to call it that. But you can see here the financials did pretty well. We'll talk about that in a minute. Utilities still, the safety trade for the week, still up a little bit. And healthcare didn't do very well. I think probably some political risk there with people talking about politicians using the healthcare topic as a bit of a punching bag. So let's go over some of the charts here. You can see here the 10-year chart. You can see how it did a nice little double bottom there. We had a really nice big bounce back, and that's of course what probably gave some footing to the financials. And financials rallied right from the beginning of the month here, and had a pretty good month. So you can see here now we're just pulling back a bit. And I suspect we're now going to kind of settle out in this range for the time being. And you can see here on the weekly, sort of an indecision candle this week. And yeah, so probably going to hang around this 1.7 level. But we're keeping an eye on that for sure. So indices, let's do the weeklies quickly here. You can see pretty much an indecision candle this week. Didn't really do much. We tried to take out the highs, failed, pulled back. Question is, are we just going to do a lower high here? Are we going to get, maybe pull back to this level, sort of the 26,500 level, and then maybe go for another challenge of the high of the all-time high here. So watching for that. IWM, of course, that's the one that's really had a lot of challenges getting traction. You can see here we're a long way from high we put in September last year, and we kind of just been bouncing along in this range. So I think that again it looks pretty range bound here for this, for the most part of the year, actually, in the small cap side of things. The Qs of course had a bad day Friday. A combination of maybe MU with their earnings, kind of disappointed on the guidance side of things, and the Chinese issue with the stocks. So you can see here the Qs again. This tried to come back up, take out the high again, pulled back again. We'll see if we make a lower high here, and then we'll be back up challenging that 195 level again. Pretty decent volume on the week, sort of building here. The SPY, take a look at that quickly. again, same story. See if it pulls back, makes a lower high or a higher, a higher pullback, higher low. So dollar's been pretty strong. Of course, that's not great for the emerging markets, and it's not great for gold silver trade either. And it does look like it's broken out here. It's pulled back, which typically happens after a breakout. You get a bit of a pullback, check back, profit takers, taking a bit of profits when you get a breakout. But if it can hold this 27 level here, I think we're probably going to go higher on the dollar index. VIX still pretty tame here, even though we've had some pretty high volatility and some bad news coming out. Still, VIX is still kind of subdued here, And again, I think if the markets just chop sideways, the VIX is probably going to do the same thing. Let's take a look at some of the favorite stocks we're going to watch here. Baidu, of course, all the Chinese stocks got really hit Friday with the news. So you can see Baidu, big pullback. We're looking at CGC as a possible trade. It really pulled back on Friday as well. This whole vaping issue and people dying isn't playing out very well for the pot stocks right now. So I would stay away from those. FNKO tried to play a bounce on that, got stopped out, but it does look like it is now putting in a bit of a bottom here and may look to re-enter it. 1980 seems to be a level at 1980. Let's see here, 1970, 1980. So 1980 seems to be a level that wants to hold. So may look at taking an entry on FNKO again, and then playing it for a bounce. Nugget, bad day on Friday. Again, partially strong US dollar. Not sure what else drove that so much lower, but we may have another leg down on this. Certainly, it's been, tried to break out here, false breakdown. So we're back at a level of support. 28 could be heading back to 28, which is about right here. Next level of support would be, 25. So if it can't hold this to 28 level, it'd be a lookout below. But I suspect we're going to get some consolidation in this area, and maybe we'll start a new leg higher. The 1500 was the number, was the gold. It did break below that on Friday, but it did come back up and finished above it, so it's kind of like a bit of a psychological level. See if it continues to sort of stay above that 1500, and then that'll be good for Nugget. Again, PayPal really got hit on Friday. Not sure why, but it's back down at a level of support. You may see another bounce there, so it could be something to watch. Roku's been, ever since all the news came out about the streaming with Apple and TV, etc., and it's just been, and then some other news about some streaming services. It's really gotten nailed. So, some stocks are in favor until they're not, and this one's definitely not anymore. Silver, same story as gold. It's kind of right on this 50 moving average now. Again, maybe have some more downside there, but could start another leg higher once we settle out. TLT again, if rates start to edge lower again, TLT will be a good play to get into. But right now, I think it looks like it's kind of consolidating right now. Keep an eye on that. TZA a way to play, or TNA is a way to play, obviously, the small caps long side, but it's been not a good trade to be in. So maybe once it gets back down here, 54-ish level, it did break all these moving averages, so it's not looking very positive. And RSI is still heading lower. Volume was sort of average, nothing to write home about. ACD's turning down. I would say small caps they're not leading the way up, and they may lead the way down. So TZA would be a way to play that long, which is the opposite of TNA. Um, Had a huge spike in natural gas from sort of like August till mid-September, and it's just been all the way back down. V reversal. Hard to trade those. And the oil just yeah, just a choppy chart. Not sure I can trade that at all. So anyway, we've got a few stocks to watch, but right now just kind of sitting back a little bit and not taking a risk on a lot of swing trades right now until we get past some of this news-driven volatility, or find a good setup like FNKO possibly for a bit of a bounce. So just keeping an eye on a few things, and that's what we're going to do. And this is one chart I was looking at. I was just going to show this before we wrap things up. This is the Federal Reserve. This is their balance sheet. So you can see here 2013, QE1, QE2, QE3, buying securities, and they're buying securities, and they really ramped up here 2017. And their balance sheet has been pretty stable, and then of course they started to talk about raising interest rates and reducing the balance sheet. So you can see here they've been doing that. But there was an interesting thing that's just happened, and it's definitely a trend that has been broken. So you can kind of see here we had this tick up. I talked about it last week. Again, this is one thing that the Federal Reserve, is going to do to keep this market supported and keep it from selling off. They're going to, this is another tool they have. They can, start expanding their balance sheet again. And you can kind of see here, nobody's talked about QE4, but this is the looks of the start of increasing the balance sheet again. So, and they're buying securities. Interesting. So, all right, well, that's it. This is my book on Amazon, How to Swing Trade. If you haven't checked it out, there it is. And hope everyone has a good rest of their evening. We'll see everyone that's going to join us in the day trading room in the morning. We'll see you all there. Have a great rest of the weekend, rest of the evening, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.